Hello, boys and girls. This evening we are going to take a look at how you can use a storage system in the cloud so that your app can interact to preserve data that it creates, and eventually it could also, of course, retrieve that data. Here in my emulator, you see there's a simple app called College App, which has a very exciting picture of a polar bear in a snowstorm on the home page. But if I would go to the menu drop down, I have two different pages in here. Now these are really going to just open up new frames, new fragments inside our window. I could go to the family member fragment, and you can see it asks for a first name and a last name, and there's a submit button. Or I could go to the profile fragment. And same thing, first name, last name, and a submit button. Now we're used to using buttons as events. So when I click on that in button, it's going to cause something to happen. Well, buttons, of course, aren't the only thing that can cause something to happen. Simply navigating away from a page can cause something to happen, and that's that is called on pause. So what's going to happen in our app that you're going to see is when I leave this page, it is going to call an on pause method, and that is going to cause any information from my app to be uploaded to the cloud. Now, where are we going to be putting this in the cloud? Well, there is a site that we're going to be using, and it's called BackEndLess. And here's their home page, and there's full of lots of different information here that you could get. But BackEndLess is basically, we're going to use it to place to store our data. But we have to hook our app up to it. Now, what would we see if we were in there? Well, right now, if you take a look at the profiles of the people who have used my app, every time they have navigated away from that fragment on profile, which is causing it to upload, it's telling me who did it and when. So we have a bunch of John Appleseeds down here that used it, then Tim Phelps used it, then Harold Smith used it 3 times, and then somebody named Alan Turing, I don't know who that might be, but he used it. And over here it also shows the time of day and the date that they used it. All right? So what we want to do is see, can we make our app record for us on the BackEndLess data storage who uses this app next. So let's take a look here at Android Studio for a second. All right, I have 3 files open. I have my main activity open, and right away in the beginning, you're going to have to. We will import some information from BackEndLess here. We're going to have to set up some variables. Here you see some strings, and these top two are very important. One is my app ID, and one is my API key, so that would make it secure. These are going to be referenced every time we try to interact with BackEndLess. And down here you can see on create, so when this app is started, on creation, it's going to initiate the app from BackEndLess, the ID and the API key. So there's some of the key things that you need to put into the main activity. Now, we've been working with fragments so that we can change screens quickly. Well, in the profile fragment, you can see we have an on-pause method. And the on-pause method basically says, hey, you take this profile and save it to the BackEndLess data. So every time I on-pause or leave the screen for my profile fragment, it should cause this on-pause method to execute and upload that information. Now I'm going to go to my profile page, and you can see, oh, this is where this guy Alan Turing came from. Well, let's just, for the sake of argument, try another name. Let's try, how about Tim? Let's just make something up. It's fun to make up names. How about Berners hyphenated? Yeah, who would ever do that? Tim Berners-Lee. We'll just try that because that's a totally fictitious name. All right? So now I have a profile information here for first name and last name. My profile fragment Java says when I on pause or when I leave this fragment, I want you to save the profile fragment data to BackEndLess, and I have all this stuff set up for creation here. So at this time, real quickly again, if we take a look at BackEnd, we can see the last person to use this site was somebody named Alan Turing. I'm going to go back here to my App Studio. We're going to build this app. Now my emulator is starting up, and hopefully I'll go into my app with my initial home screen, and from there I am going to navigate to, first of all, the family profile, family member profile, and we'll see nothing happen hopefully when I navigate away from it, but something will happen when I navigate away from my user profile. So in my college app, I am going to go to family member. I'm going to navigate away from it, which would invoke an on-pause method if there was one, simply navigating away from it. So I went away from family member, and if I were to go down now and take a look at my data, that's the profiles of the people who have used this app, nothing has changed. The gentleman named Alan Turing is still the last user. But if I come back to my app, and I've now navigated to my personal info, and my profile page fragment, I'm going to navigate away from that. That is going to cause an event to happen. Hopefully what that did was cause the on-pause method to execute and save data. So now if I come back here and I refresh my BackEndLess page, I see that the most recent user, what's this guy named Tim Berners-Lee? Oh my gosh, I don't know what a crazy name that is. I wouldn't know who would ever name their kid Tim Berners-Lee, but there you can see it. So simply by navigating away, I was able to call a method which uploaded things to BackEndLess, which is a data storage API that I can use in the cloud.